Alon, have you ever heard of a score being changed a full day after the fact?
No. Why?
Well, the Warriors tipped off their season the other night. They played the Portland Trail Blazers
Yep.
and they won. I believe the final score was 139 to 104. Well,
Yes.
you should know about this in the gambling community. The NBA released this statement last night. The NBA has announced that a scoring error was made during the Golden State Warriors Portland Trailblazers game played last night at the Moda Center. With 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter, D'Anthony Melton was incorrectly credited with two missed free throws. And when in fact he made one out of two. As a result, the final score has been changed to Golden State 140, Portland 104. That is a full day after the fact.
That's insane. So they went back and correct. So I watched. I must have missed his free throws that he made one of two on, but I didn't realize they did that. I didn't have any action on the game, so if I did, I probably would have known. I wonder if it would have affected the outcome because I think the total on that game was 222 and a half.
Yeah, I mean either way, the game was a blowout.
Yeah,
but like none of the announcers noticed, none of the players noticed. Anthony Melton himself didn't notice.
Did Chauncey Billups notice?
I guess not. And I've never heard of that before. A full day after the fact, they changed the score.
Yeah, wow. That's insane. Real quick about the Warriors, I know we're going to get into a little bit of football, but
yeah,
and did they look good during the third quarter?
They did. And,
we had talked about maybe the defense, the team wasn't making the kind of splashy moves that we've been accustomed to over the past few years, but they're super athletic and they can really defend. I was very impressed, even if it was against Portland.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Real quick, along before we get into things, what sweatshirt you wearing there? Because I think Ernie 2 in the chat here thinks it's a Crawdads sweatshirt.
It is.
Nice. Are they the AAA team for? Who are they? AAA
no,
team
they're a summer collegiate team over in Danville.
Nice. All right. Well, just your opinion, man. Alon Desai filling in for Steven once again. We'll talk a lot of football today, and I should let everybody know today is Alon's last show for a while because Steven is back. Steven is back in the Bay Area. He got back in town, I believe, on Wednesday. He's been at KCBS. Was going to do the show with me this weekend, but I have time to do it today because, as you can tell by my hat, Tolbert and Copes is going over to Almanac Brewing in Alameda, so I got time to do that today. And Steven is working right now, so we will be reunited next Wednesday. We will not have a show next Tuesday because the Warriors are playing that night, and we're going to another brewery. Me and Adam Copeland and Tom Tolbert are going to Harmonic right next to Chase Center for our Tuesday show, so I won't be able to come back in time for a quick show or quick enough to come back at night to do the show on Tuesday night. And the Warriors are playing. People want to watch that. So we'll be back on Wednesday night for next week. But yeah, dude, the Warriors look good. Just talk quickly about that. They're opening their season up the other night. And, they played Portland. I'm not really going to put a lot of stock into it. I like the 13-man rotation.
Everybody played.
I think that, they're going back to the old ways of strength in numbers.
Yep.
And yeah, they got more options. We'll see how it plays out. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they have, peaks and valleys every now and then, and they may need to make a big trade. Our guy, I was joined by Greg Silver on the last podcast with the NBA Warriors preview, and he said maybe Jonas Valanciunas could be a guy that the Warriors look at later on in the season. So we'll see what happens there, but I was very impressed. And it was weird seeing Klay Thompson in a Dallas Mavericks jersey the other night, wearing 31.
Yeah, that I watched that game too because that was on that was on TNT.
Yep.
Last night. Yeah, and that was weird. Also, that game started with the pace that I think everybody would have expected it to start with. It was just like, okay, I'm going to dribble the ball 20 times, and we're going to get it in somewhere, and then try to get a shot up. And then the third quarter, they erupt for like 74 points. I was like, where the hell was this? Yeah, I don't know. Dallas is still good, obviously, but Spurs kind of gave that one away.
Yeah, and the Spurs are not really, they're figuring things out. They, acquired Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul, so they'll be better, but they're still a very young and experienced team, even though they got some veteran presence there now. But basketball aside, the World Series starts tonight. Yankees, Dodgers. This is probably the biggest, most high profile World Series in a long ass time. I don't know how the ratings have been in most recent years, but you got to believe with the markets and the star power that this is going to be very big for baseball. And let's be completely honest. Baseball is suffering a little bit right now. The game has lost interest over the years. They try to change, the rules to get people into it more, but I think that younger people are not watching baseball as much. I mean, ESPN has kind of dropped most of its baseball coverage, and they don't even talking about it on the debate shows, talking head shows, but they will now because of these two teams. So you got the Yankees with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton, all their stars. Not to mention, yeah, who's my guy that came from the Marlins? Jackson Chisholm. What's his name? Chisholm.
Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm. Say his name slowly.
Jazz Chisholm.
And then on the Dodgers side, obviously Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. So this is big. We got some big names in this World Series. I know Giants fans in the Bay Area are not happy. They're rooting against the Dodgers. What do you think about this matchup, Alon, between the storied, these huge franchises on, polar opposite coasts, the Yankees versus the Dodgers?
I love it. I like the Yankees all year this year. I'm happy that they were able to make it that far. I mean, good for them, especially with the lineups that they've had over the past few years. Dodgers, this is it's kind of funny because the Yankees have been always the team where it's like, well, they gotta at least make the championship series and then see if they can get in. They got to be able to win the pennant. But the Dodgers, since Dave Roberts has been the manager, it's been like you expect them, especially over the past 3 or 4 years, to go to the World Series. So this is a big moment for them. They have to win this. If to put it in football terms, it's kind of like when the Colts had Peyton Manning. They didn't get as many opportunities as they maybe should have, or maybe they thought they should have at a championship. And the Dodgers, they spend all this money, and I think they got through a pretty tough road in the NL. So yeah, I mean, this is huge. We've talked about it. If they don't win it, I think Dave Roberts there's a chance where they're like, maybe we should go in another direction just because of all the talent he has. But it's exciting. You mentioned the ratings coming into this segment, and baseball has had an issue. They are trying to address it. I know they're doing better with the 18 to 34 demo, which is really important for them. And the gate numbers have been good this season, and the streaming numbers have been really good. But as far as World Series ratings, I would say, I haven't looked at it, but maybe the last two that have been huge would maybe be LA, Boston, and then you might have to go all the way back to the early 2000s. But from a matchup standpoint, tonight I actually like the Yankees. I think Garrett Cole is better on the mound tonight than Flaherty will be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees have more pitching, but the Dodgers have more firepower.
Yes.
Yeah. So when it's all said and done, who do you think wins the series?
I think the Yankees win this World Series.
All right.
It's very hard to pick against them. They've been they're a complete team, and I still don't know the Dodgers. I still don't know, but I mean, if Kike Hernandez, if they pull off their playoff heroics and get some semblance of decent pitching besides just out of the bullpen, then they have a very good chance. But right now I'm leaning Yankees. I just like the Yankees overall roster more.
Yeah, I think the lack of pitching for the Dodgers may be their undoing. but they can put up runs just as easily as the Yankees. I think it's going to be a very high scoring series, and I'm not a Yankee guy. I have no issue picking the Dodgers. I don't care about pissing off Giants fans. But I'll go with the Yankees in 6. I'll go with the Yankees in 6.
Yeah,
Or it could be the Dodgers. You never know.
Yeah, no, I mean the Dodgers. It's not like this is. I mean, this could go 7 games. It's just a question of. I hope it's. Look, I hope it's a series where the games are almost all of them are competitive, just from a viewership standpoint. I don't want a series kind of how the Dodgers had with the Mets, where you get a blowout one side, a blowout the other side, and then if I don't. There's gonna be one blowout in this World Series probably because there always is, but. Yeah, right now I'd be leaning Yankees, and tonight especially, I think there's better value on the Yankees.
All right. So yeah, we're both on the Yankees. There probably will be some blowouts every now and then, just because of the travel for both teams. So, but I think it's going to be a really fun series. So I can't wait for that. When the equinox begins,
yes,
I believe this Monday is when we'll have hockey, basketball, football, and World Series all going on.
Hey, how about the Sharks last night? Almost coming back against the Kings.
Didn't see that. I haven't watched a lot of Sharks. I've been keeping up. It's it sucks that Celebrini is already out, but yeah, they're off to a slow start once again, but they're at least a little more exciting.
Oh, switch it over.
All right, hold on. I got you there, Alon. All right, now Alon is officially on his computer. If you couldn't tell before, he was on his phone. He had a little computer issues before.
I have a computer that is like top of the line, except for the hard drive, which is like from 1999. So a little slow.
Oh, good year. All righty. Let's talk some football. And let's talk about last night real quick before we get to anything else. Fun Thursday night game between the Vikings and Rams. You and I both took the Rams and the over, so we got that right. Rams win 30-20. It was a battle between two former coaches that were on the same staff. Kevin O'Connell used to be on the Rams staff when they won the Super Bowl in 2021. So there was familiarity there between Sean McVay and Kevin O'Connell. And the story of this game is, later on in the game, but the beginning of the game where we got the news that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are good to go. And I think that makes a world of difference for the Rams. I think that the reason for their 1-4 start is not because of they're a bad football team. I think it's because of the injuries. I think that losing both of Matthew Stafford's top receivers, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, was massive for him. So he, had to find, passing yards in Demarcus Robinson, who got 2 touchdowns last night, and Tutu Atwell and these other guys, Tyler Johnson. And, those shouldn't be your main wide receivers. That's kind of the issue that Brock Purdy may face this weekend. But now that he's got those 2 guys back, I think the offense is as lethal as it's ever been. I think coming into the game, Matthew Stafford had 3 touchdown passes on the season, and last night he had 4 in the game alone.
Yep.
So I think having those 2 guys come back is big. And after that win last night, the Rams are 3-4. If you look at their schedule, it's kind of favorable right now. They get the Seahawks in Seattle on 10 days next week. They could go to 4-4. I initially thought Cooper Kupp was going to be traded regardless, just because I thought that they wanted to move off of his contract and get a second-round pick for next year. I'm not so sure now. I think that they can make a run with him. Maybe not a deep run, but they could maybe be a wild card team, or hell, maybe even win that division. Who knows right now? Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they look to trade Cooper Kupp in the offseason, just because he's getting up there in age. He's going to be 32. They like Puka Nacua, but I don't think you should mess with that right now. So if I had to guess, after last night's win and possible, little avenue there for the Rams to go on a little run here, I don't think they're moving on from Cooper Kupp. I think there'll be other trades before the trade deadline, but I do not anticipate Cooper Kupp being one of them.
Yeah, no. It was interesting because going into the game when the news came, and I think we picked this game, Derek, as well, before we knew Puka Nacua was going to be activated. So I think we knew that Cooper Kupp was probably going to play, but probably not Puka. And getting both of them back in the same week was just huge. But with Cooper Kupp, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, a 3-4 Rams team, and like you said, they got a little bit of a soft schedule coming up, but that division's there for the taking. I still am leaning Niners just because I think they're a better team overall. But if the Rams play like this, and that was a good Minnesota Vikings team who got out to a hot start as well. I mean, up 14-7 in the first quarter. And Stafford keeps playing like this. I don't know. If there's one person they really have to thank as well, it's Kyron Williams. He is really even though maybe the wins weren't there, he really kind of carried the ship for them, carried the weight for them while everybody else was out. So yeah, Cooper Kupp. I really thought this was going to be like a showcase game for him. And if they lost, then I thought they would lean off of him. But when they win, that kind of changes everything. I kind of thought they were going to maybe do not a fire sale, but definitely get rid of some pieces before the trade deadline. But sitting there 3-4 in a division that's, up for grabs right now. Yeah, they did a really good job. It was a good comeback by them. I will say this. A lot of people just thought the Vikings were going to go in there and win. And especially once the two wide receivers came back. I mean, they're worth a lot to this offense. Saw Stafford just throwing dimes to Nakua. And then I know Demarcus Robinson is who ended up getting the touchdowns, but it wasn't even just deep or intermediate passes to Puka. It was, a little screen out here where he runs out to the left and then gets some blocking, or they just look smooth. They looked really smooth. And, that was a good barometer for them. That was a really good test for them to go against the Vikings because the Vikings are no slouch.
And I don't think, I don't think we should overlook that Sean McVay knows Kevin O'Connell pretty well.
Yeah.
So that probably helped with the game plan. But, the Vikings have been a really good football team. I'm not going to take anything away from them. However, they, in the last few weeks, and even prior to their first loss against the Lions, they have shown that they are susceptible to getting beat in pass coverage.
Yes,
they're not the best pass defense. They have a good pass rush. They're really good against the run. But Matthew Stafford throwing 4 touchdown passes on them last night. Jared Goff, I think, starting whatever he was the other day. Even Jordan Love throwing 4 touchdown passes on them a couple weeks ago. They can be had through the air. And you're going to see them struggle a little bit in pass protection right now because the injury to Christian Darrisaw is huge. The news just came out. He is out for the season. And that is brutal because he at the time when he got his contract, he was the highest paid left tackle. He, is great at protecting Sam Darnold's blind side. Without him, that's a significant loss. So I still think they're a playoff team. But I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing some losses creep up now for the Vikings because now they've shown that they are not, they're not as strong as they were after their 5-0 start.
Yeah, and the defense, Darrisaw is huge. I mean, that's a massive loss for the entire season. But to your first point with the defense, I mean, some of the plays that Stafford was able to make, especially in the red zone, like at the end of the second quarter, at the end of the first half, where he kind of ducks under what looks like a sure sack between 2 defenders and then is able to find a guy in the back of the end zone. They just don't, you always hear it on the broadcast, like you got to plaster down there in the end zone and make sure that you don't let anybody open. They let Kyron Williams kind of open at the front of the goal line. They left Demarcus Robinson open at the back of the end zone, which, that's just not the kind of stuff you want to see out of a good playoff contending team. And I'm not saying the Vikings are bad, but yeah, they need to shore up some things on defense. They need to figure out their offensive line now. But the thing I wonder about them is, can Darnold get to another level in his play? Because I think he's been pretty consistent this year, Derek, in doing what he needs to do, doing enough to win. And obviously, he's always going to have a few big plays, maybe every game, because of the fact that he has a guy like Justin Jefferson out there who can make incredible catches. And he had a few really good ones yesterday. But I don't know if he can. We saw Stafford elevate his game now that he has a full complement of weapons again. I don't know if we're going to see Darnold be able to I'm not saying get to that Stafford level, but to be able to win them games, especially on the road, going to a place like SoFi Stadium, which has one of the best, and SoFi Stadium in itself maybe doesn't have the best home field advantage in the NFL, but when the Rams play there, they have a very good home field advantage.
They do. At times. But now they're going to feel that pass rush without Christian Darrisaw, because now without him, Darnold's going to be more suspect. I can't even fucking say this word. I was trying to.
Susceptible.
Thank you, Alon. Susceptible to more sacks. I got there eventually. Which led to a very controversial call that was not made last night. I don't think the Vikings would have won the game. Let me just say that. It was 28-20 inside 2 minutes. They had, I think, one timeout remaining.
Yes.
But they were on their own goal line, and Byron Young comes in and sacks Sam Darnold in the end zone. And game over, safety, ball punted back to the Rams. They tried to onside kick it, but Rams recover, and they win that game. Clear face mask. Clear face mask. That was not called. And maybe the last two fingers, you got the pinky and this one right in here that went into his face mask. It got in there. The flag should have been thrown. And I don't know what you do in that situation, because it's not a reviewable play, I guess. Even though there was a score, 2 points scored on that play. That's not like a one that the refs review, and you can't review that. You can't throw the flag. There should have been something like on the Monday night game where the Chargers and Cardinals had the call where they threw the flag initially for pass interference, and they picked it up and said it's an uncatchable ball. In that situation, I feel like the referees can huddle together and be like, we totally missed this, and we need to call this and make this right. But you can't do it too much after the fact. Like, let's say this game was in Minnesota and it was a repeat of Texas and Georgia, where a bunch of beer bottles were thrown on the field and they changed the call. That's too late.
Yeah.
But you got to right or wrong here. They fucked up. Now, do I think a win was taken away from the Vikings? No. But they should have been at least given that chance. So I thought the referees really fucked up last night.
I mean, Darnold could have driven them, and then, you never know what's going to happen on the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
But the problem I had with that play was the back judge is right there, and he had a pretty darn good view of Darnold's head going like this, and there wasn't really anything obstructing. So, and if it's funny, because on Amazon's coverage last night, they did show the view from the camera from the back of the end zone, and you could see the back judge's kind of head shift towards Darnold mid-play. And then as he's getting sacked, he's looking right at it, and he just, for whatever reason, missed it. Darnold even motions at his face mask. I'm not saying that cost him the game, but it didn't help. That's for damn sure. And I don't know what you can do about reviewing that kind of stuff, Derek, because I feel like there's already so many reviews in the game already, and I know they've tried to expedite some of them by doing whatever they call this, the quick review, where they just get buzzed in from league headquarters and then take care of it. But yeah, that was egregious. And I'm sure people in Minnesota on sports radio are just, bitching and moaning about it. And it was pretty bad, but that's not why they lost the game. And I know you think that too, but I don't know if I've seen a call that's been blown that bad, that's been right there in front of the official, that bad in a while.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Sports Talk Radio Minnesota, because I haven't seen anything on Twitter, but I would love to hear Paul Allen's call in that situation. Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
Yeah. How do you miss that? And
he would call the referee by his name and say, "Come on, you blind?" And it was bad. The call was. I mean, he may have been in a bad position, but he was right there.
Well, yeah, and all, like I said, all you got to do is watch that back angle that they replayed maybe 3 or 4 times, where he's hit Byron. Yeah, but his arm is in the face mask area.
Yeah,
Maybe the ref thought it was around the collar, but then even there, you're wondering, well, that's kind of above the shoulders. So that even brings in a roughing aspect
Yeah.
to things as well. So I don't know. It seemed to me that the referees, the officials in that situation were like, whatever we do, we are not deciding the outcome of this game. But by not doing that, maybe they did.
Yeah, I mean, I thought in real time that I thought it was just a shoulder pad thing. So I was like, no, 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 they got it right. And then when they showed they showed the replay and saw the two fingers in his face mask, I was like, yeah, they missed that.
Yeah.
And the pool report after the game is not a good explanation. The referee can't just simply say, I missed it, I didn't see. Not good enough. The biggest tell was Byron Young. He went on social media later and said, like, oh, I was just covering up my ears because it was too loud in there. I was like, no, no. If you see in real time, he puts his hands on his head because
Yeah.
he thinks that he fucked up.
He realizes that he's going to get called for a big
Yeah.
flag.
But nothing happened. In the end, Rams win the game over the Vikings, 30-20.
We should also give credit to real quick Cooper Kupp, who we did talk about him coming back, obviously, but that drive that that the Rams had like halfway through the fourth quarter put themselves up 28-21. He looked really good, like fighting through a pass interference to catch a ball. Like he was giving them fits, and they weren't just giving him fits in the red zone. It was all over the field.
Yeah, I mean, the balls that Matthew Stafford was throwing and the likes of Demarcus Robinson and Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp were coming down with them.
Yeah.
They're a different football team when they have those two guys. So, like I said, man, I do not think Cooper Kupp will be moved. I think the Rams could challenge the Niners or the Seahawks or even the Cardinals for that division right now. It's kind of up in the air. I know the Seahawks are leading it at 4-3, but I'm not buying them right now. The Niners should have that division in the NFC West, but until, they take it, I say they're a little suspect there. I'm trying to incorporate suspect or susceptible in every word now because I just want to get that word down, damn it. Yeah, I think that I think it was a huge win for the Rams, and we'll see where the Vikings go from here. Speaking of not speaking of anything, I was going to say the Niners, but we'll wait on that one. Just a lot of injuries for the Niners real quick before we get to the Raiders. We'll find out later today. Kyle Shanahan came on with Tolbert and Copes yesterday and basically said that Juwan Jennings will not play this weekend. He's going to be probably listed as doubtful today. He'll try to go, but most likely he won't, and he'll be back after the bye week. Debo is trying his damnedest to play in this game with having pneumonia, but that's not anything to mess around with. So we'll see if he goes. It may be a game where Brock Purdy has to play with Ricky Pearsall and who else? Jacob Cowing and maybe Chris Conley. He's even hurt, and we'll see about George Kittle. So we'll find out more later today. But that could be rough for Brock Purdy. And I know that people are kind of questioning how much freedom he has as a quarterback because Larry Krueger yesterday asked him, do you have the ability to change the play at the line of scrimmage? And he basically said, no, we don't have audibles. There are things that I can, check down to in a if a play breaks down, there's always another option for me. That's why he has so much success, is because the way Kyle schemes it up is if this read's not there, you go to this one. If that read's not there, you go here. So he doesn't have, the line of scrimmage to check out as something. And people are like, well, that's interesting. Does Kyle really believe in this guy? And that's something that Steve Young even said to us the other day where he was like, I want to see more off-script plays. But really, Brock has been doing a lot of off-script plays this season. He's been using his legs, his mobility. It's just not like, him changing things at the line of scrimmage. I don't think Kyle gives him the freedom to any of his quarterbacks to do that. So there's a lot of pressure on Brock this week. Obviously, people last year were all on him for like, oh, he's got too many weapons. This year, I don't think he's getting enough credit for the lack of weapons he does have. He's played most of the season without McCaffrey. He's not going to have Ayuk. Debo's been in and out. I think we should be giving a lot of credit to this guy, and I don't think it's an indictment on him that he doesn't have the same freedom that other quarterbacks have to check out of a play. He's not Peyton Manning, but he's still a great quarterback.
No, he is, and he's really proven it this season without full complement of receivers and running backs to really rely on. And so he has shown that was always the question about Brock was, can he do it without the supporting cast? He can. They're not having the best season so far, obviously, but he is not the sole reason that they are losing games. Even if he has had a good amount of turnover worthy plays. I would say this about the whole audibleizing or checking in and out of plays or making adjustments at the line. There's not very many quarterbacks in the NFL right now who have that freedom to kind of go up there, look at what they like, look at what they don't like, and then change things because a lot of the quarterbacks are young. Number one, Brock Purdy is a young quarterback, but number two, like a lot of those all-time greats, they've retired. So there's only a handful of guys who can really go up there with the full playbook and switch things on the fly. I don't think that's an indictment on Brock Purdy whatsoever. What it might be though is it might be something that Kyle Shanahan needs to adjust. You mentioned he hasn't let any of his quarterbacks do that in San Francisco. I believe that. Probably the last quarterback that he coached that he let have that kind of freedom was Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
So yeah, like is Purdy at the Matt Ryan's going to be a Hall of Famer? Is he at that level? No, not yet, but he could get there. I don't know. It's they're so hard to evaluate right now, Derek, because they're not healthy. They need that bye week to come so badly. And like you're not going to take any chances with Debo because pneumonia, like you just need to make sure that it's completely gone before you do anything because serious health problems could arise if you don't take it seriously. So they should be as caution heavy as as cautious as they possibly can be with them. George Kittle's going to need to play big. That's number one. And I know they're going against a Cowboys team who's not been good this year, but I don't know what to make of that whole thing between Kruger and Purdy because if Purdy's telling the truth, then I think that Shanahan might need to. There's two solutions to it. Either he needs to get even more creative and down in the X's and O's, but he can only do so much with the pieces he has right now. The other thing is, I don't think it would be that difficult to tell Brock Purdy, hey, look, here's some situations where you can check to this, check to that. I'm not giving you the whole playbook to go up to the line, dissect everything, and reorchestrate the game plan on the fly, but I'm giving you some more tools to be successful, especially right now when we're limited in our arsenal of weapons on the outside. So, yeah, I'm sure there's some Niner fans who are like, oh, that's not great or that's weird, but you know what? This team has had so much success with Kyle Shanahan at the helm. They just haven't won the big one. So, does it need drastic overhaul? No. I think right now, if they were completely healthy, they might only have one loss.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think that Kyle does need to get a little more creative with the play calling. I remember a time where they traded for Emmanuel Sanders and he made his debut, I believe, on a short week, or maybe it was the week after. But there was a Thursday night game in Arizona where Kyle put Emmanuel Sanders in the backfield as a fullback. And they ran Spider 2-wide banana where he was the primary in the flat and he threw a touchdown pass to him. That's what you got to get more creative with the play calling. You need a little more end arounds, just different ways to get the guys open. I know it's difficult. They don't have their main guys, but I think that Kyle's capable of scheming it up in a creative way, and I think he'll be able to do that this weekend. I think also the Cowboys are banged up a little bit. They won't have DeMarcus Lawrence. They won't have Micah Parsons. Deron Bland could be back for this game, but that's maybe a slim chance. So they'll be banged up defensively, but they got something to prove too. They're coming off a really bad loss to the Lions. They're coming off 3 bad beatdowns to the 49ers from the last 3 seasons in the playoffs and the regular season. The last time these two teams played each other in the regular season was a year ago on Sunday night, where Brock Purdy threw 4 touchdown passes and won that game 42-10. So they're out to prove something. It's going to be an interesting game, and it's really going to be who's the more desperate team. So we'll pick that game later on. But I want to talk about the Raiders and Chiefs happening this weekend. And first and foremost, DeAndre Hopkins is now a Kansas City Chief. I don't know how much he has left, to be completely honest. I thought this trade was probably a year and a half too late. I thought the offseason, and everybody in the chat will, remember, I was all about the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. I was fascinated by it. There was a while there where there was a lull during free agency, and the two biggest names were DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook. And I wanted DeAndre Hopkins to go to a team like the Chiefs or the Bills. He ultimately ended up signing a contract with the Titans, which I thought was ridiculous. But they were willing to give him the money that he was looking for, and he flashed every now and then with the Titans. I see Tacky keeping track of when I pronounce my T's and D's. Thank you. Eat shit, Tacky. But he really didn't establish a good connection with Will Levis. So, and there were times last year when that happened, but I see why they moved off of him. The Chiefs are desperate for some wide receiver help. They managed to get by in years past, but they have so many right now. Juju's banged up. I think Sky Moore's on injured reserve now. So they just got to deal with a lot of shit. But they get DeAndre Hopkins. They trade a conditional 5th-round pick for him that could be a 4th. And he's going to wear number 8 because of Kobe Bryant. And he's going to make his debut as a Chief against the Raiders this weekend. So before we get to kind of the history of the Chiefs and Raiders from this past offseason, what do you make of the DeAndre Hopkins move?
The Chiefs, they make great moves. To give up a conditional late-round pick to get a guy with a history of DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Nuke Hopkins was for a long time so damn good. And if he's got anything left, then the Chiefs will get it out of him. This is like classic Chiefs right now. They seem to always make the right moves when it comes to some of these older veterans or players that, like, look at what's happening with Kareem Hunt, for instance. I mean, they're able just to pick guys up and make them work again, however that is. They have the secret sauce. Great move. They need it. I know Mahomes is not having the best season of all time this year by his standards, but he is still by far the best quarterback in the league, and it's him and Lamar probably. But yeah, I don't know. It's the Chiefs. They're in that window, Derek, where it's just like it seems like every move they make, they can do no wrong there, and at the same time, everybody's willing to go play for them. So they have their pick of the litter when it comes to high-profile guys that maybe haven't been playing or have had rough years the past couple of years. So just solid move by them. I hate that the rich keep getting richer in that sense.
Yeah. So we'll see how much of an impact he has on the offense. He'll probably be rejuvenated with playing with Mahomes. A good red zone option for them. I don't know if he can go deep anymore, but maybe he's just, not has. I mean, I don't think he's voiced his displeasure in Tennessee. Yeah. I think that he kind of said, I think last week, that he was like, I got a good life here. He loves being in Nashville, but he wants to win a championship. I think he's been on, the Texans had moments, but for the most part, he's been on some bad teams, and now it's time for him at the latter part of his career to potentially go get a ring. But the Raiders and Chiefs, this is another, Cowboys and Niners have their rivalry, but this is Chiefs and Raiders. This is in division. This is history, old AFL days. And the Raiders have been beat down by the Chiefs in recent years. Patrick Mahomes, I believe, has only lost to them twice.
He lost to them in Kansas City during the COVID year.
Derek Carr went crazy with Henry Ruggs, throwing a shit ton of yards.
That's true. Oh, man. And then obviously last year with the Christmas Day game.
Yes, so he's had 2 losses to the Raiders. And the Christmas game last year was impressive defensively. 2 defensive touchdowns.
7 seconds.
Yeah, big rushing day from Zamir White. We're still looking for that. Has not come close to that day since then. Aiden O'Connell throwing for 58 yards. Didn't have a completion after the first quarter. And they won that game. So give credit to the Raiders. I think that win ultimately gave Antonio Pierce his job. And then Antonio Pierce started feeling himself in the offseason. Me and Steven talked about it. I wasn't a huge fan of this. Max Crosby's podcast this past February, Antonio Pierce was a guest on it, and he
Mhm.
decided that he came up with the Mahomes rules, like the Jordan rules.
And then we went into, you got the Jordan rules, and I'm calling now from now on, as long as I'm here, the Patrick Mahomes rules. So you remember when Jordan was going through it with the Pistons, all those guys in the 80s before he came, Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, the Pistons used to whoop his. Anytime he came to the hole, elbows, filling them, love taps. We touched them. We in the head, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm touching you. So I showed those guys Jordan getting his whooped.
All right. So, for the most part, nothing wrong there. He's just talking about the formula of what they're trying to do to stop Mahomes. But you're kind of coming across cocky and arrogant, like you have the prototype, the textbook out on how to stop Mahomes. So, I mean, Steven liked that Antonio Pierce was talking honestly. He liked that he didn't talk like a coach. I kind of thought it was kind of ridiculous, but whatever. And I think even Patrick Mahomes, I forget what his reaction to it was at the time, but he just said, we'll wait for that during the season.
Yeah.
Then this past training camp, it's not anything the Raiders did, but a fan comes to camp with a Kermit the Frog stuffed puppet and puts it in a Mahomes jersey, and then all the Raider players see it at training camp and they're laughing at it. Not only they're doing, but it got to the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes said, I got something for that later in the season. So I don't really know why the Raiders want to poke the Bears so much, despite their lack of success against the Chiefs. I think it's stupid, but what's your take on it, Alon?
I don't know. They're rivals. This happens in college football. Like Auburn does this to Alabama, and Auburn's awful. So right now the Raiders are Auburn. They're not very good. and the Chiefs.
That's the realest shit you've said.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are Alabama. So this stuff's gonna happen. I don't really have an issue with what Pierce said. He was just saying these, like you said, these are the things we're trying to do to Mahomes. And last year we were successful in one of the games, and in the first half of another one of the games, or the first quarter of another one of the games, the one at home. But yeah, like the Chiefs don't need any extra motivation or bulletin board material, and they've already had a whole ton, including the loss they had last year. I mean, the Raiders are the last team to beat them, so they're going to want to come out and do a really, really good job against the Raiders. I do think, I mean, it is funny to say the Mahomes rules. Well, look, the Mahomes rules are this. First of all, from a roster standpoint, you have to have an elite pass rusher. The Raiders are able to check that box.
Okay.
So you need one who can constantly put pressure on Mahomes every single play. So they can do that. But as far as everything else goes, the freaking rule is to make sure Kelsey doesn't score 3 touchdowns in the red zone and that Jonathan Abram isn't busting his coverage because he wants to come up and make a huge hit. I mean, the rules are this. Yeah, try to sack Mahomes, make him uncomfortable, but he's still going to make plays. So you got to do everything else right. But thinking that you can just hit yourself into a win against a guy like him is very like one-dimensional, and that's not the only ingredient that goes into it. Obviously, that's what the fans see, especially on TV, because that's what the camera shows. They show the pocket 24/7. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have so much motivation to continue their unbeaten streak this season and to not lose to the Raiders again. The Raiders on the other side, I mean, talk about a mess. Gardner Minshew, I'm assuming, is going to start this week. And because he knows the playbook. If Desmond Ridder was up to speed, I think he would be the starter.
You'll probably see him probably get a start in the next couple weeks here.
Yeah. But yeah, they won that game last year solely off of the defense. And, you know, everyone says, oh, why isn't this defense very good this season? I would say that they're actually pretty good, and they're one of the better third down defenses in the league. The problem is you can't expect your defense to score at the rate that they were scoring last year. It's just not sustainable. Yeah. Now, and compound that with the fact that the Raiders have the worst turnover margin in the NFL because of all of Minshew's interceptions. So yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, the Chiefs are so much better than the Raiders as a whole right now, and it's not close. All that being said, the Mahomes rules, if that's what they want to go with, still apply. You still have to play that way, even though you're being outmanned across the board.
Yeah, but let's not act like Mahomes has never seen a blitz either, though.
Oh,
Like,
no. Yeah.
No, and I know you know that, but like the whole notion of like you just got to beat the crap out of him. He gets beat up all the time. It's still like he'll make ridiculous throws where a guy just pulverized him, but yet he released it so quickly, and then there's a wide open wide receiver. So don't act like that's the most simplistic formula to winning against Mahomes is just to beat the crap out of him. You gotta the formula. What really needs to be the formula that Antonio Pierce as the head coach needs to figure out is the Chiefs defense rules. That's like, how does Luke Getsy get that offense to put points up against that defense? And I have no doubts that the Raiders could get to Mahomes and stifle him at moments, but I just think that be careful what you ask for, because I just felt like Antonio Pierce talked way too much this offseason. The Raiders had too much fun with a 3-time Super Bowl champ that they had not had success against. And they are 2-5 and they're undefeated. And they talked a lot of shit. And you could have had them kind of sleepwalking their way into Allegiant, being like, all right, this is the lowly Raiders. They remember what you said, and now they're going to try to kick your ass. So this is going to blow up in their face now.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm anticipating. And I have no doubts that the Raiders are going to get to Mahomes. They are. I mean, and they've shown that, especially since Max Crosby's been on the team. He's always been able to get after him. That's not the issue. The issue is scoring enough points to beat that team. And I know that offensively, the Chiefs might not be where they want to be this year, but they just beat a damn good team. Well, darn good team. Can't call them damn good right now because of their record, but they beat San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the Raiders lined up and played San Francisco probably annihilate them, even as depleted as they are. So, look, yeah, you can hit Mahomes. That's great, but you got to do so many other things besides that to beat the Chiefs. And no one's been able to do it this season. I mean, there's been a couple of teams who have been close, like the Ravens, for instance, but it is not. That's not the situation you want to put yourself in. That's not the corner you want to paint yourself in. Now, if by some miracle they win, then I guess he can say, yeah, I see, I have but you know what? The blueprint this. Oscar De La Hoya used to always bring this up about Floyd Mayweather. Well, I developed a blueprint to beat Floyd Mayweather. Did you? Because you lost against him, even though it was a damn close fight. And then everybody else tried to implement so-called blueprint. Didn't work. So I feel the same thing about the Chiefs. The blueprint is you just got to be a better football team than them. It's not just about one guy, as good as that one guy is.
Well, let's pick the Raiders and Chiefs along with the Cowboys-Niner game. But before we do that, Alon?
Yeah, I'm grabbing it right now.
He's put it off for way too long, and I believe it's 3 losses in a row. Alon is grabbing some, I believe, ghost pepper, because he's got to own up to his bet. Today's his last day on the podcast for a little while. And he's going to pay his dues for being a bad NFL game picker. So let's see what he comes up with here. And we'll pick these games. And by the way, while I filibuster here, if everybody just joining the show right now, we'll be back next week on Wednesday. Wednesday, we'll review Week 8. I have to go to Harmonic for Tolbert and Cope's. Warriors are doing their first home day game against the Pelicans that night. So we'll be there. I won't be able to get home in a quick enough fashion. So we'll do the show next Wednesday, and Steven will be back. Steven will be joining me, make his return from his honeymoon in Tuscany. He will be back with me on Wednesday night. All right, Alon has his ghost pepper.
Yes. So we have some habanero sauce combined with some ghost pepper infused hot sauce with some
Oh,
other
shit.
peppers in it as well. It's tamer than the regular ghost pepper because I didn't want to burn my mouth out today.
Fair enough.
But it's still hot, and I put it on a lovely piece of cold bread.
Oh, well, this is going to be horrible for you.
Disgusting.
But bread helps. All right, so here Alon's going already, and the hot sauce will course through his veins while we make these picks. A little something we call wins or wangs. All right, let's do this. Yep, Alon's already getting spicy as he downs that ghost pepper and habanero. You got anything to work with as far as like water or anything to help you out there? All right, he's got something. All right, let's do this thing. So Alon and I are 3-3 from Thursday night. We both picked the Rams to win, and we both picked the over. So no London games this week, so we all can sleep in this weekend. Nice. But Tua Tagovailoa is back, and I'm happy about this because I thought many people were too quick to rush to be like, oh, he needs to retire. I get it. Everybody wants to look out for his safety and everything, but I'm sure he consulted his family, and this is what he wants to do. So I think we all should respect that. Tua's making his comeback from the concussion he suffered in week 2, and the Dolphins should be a better football team, finally. The Dolphins are 4-point favorites. The over-under is 46.5 as they take on the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals coming off a huge win against the LA Chargers in a short week. Alon, how you feeling? And who you picking?
Miami cover under.
It's going to be quick responses for Alon on this one. All right, so he's taking the under. I'm going to go. All right, sorry, he's taking the over. I didn't mean to scratch that out. I'm going over on this one. So he's taking Miami. I'm also taking the points, but he's going to go under on that 46.5. I'll go over on that 46.5.
Keep talking. I gotta get more water.
Okay, Alon's going to get some more water. He may have bitten off more than he could chew there. That's a lot of hot sauce. All right, then we got the New York Jets going to the New England Patriots. Hassan Reddick finally playing for this team, and Devontae Adams. I guess not happy with the way that his new team looked in his first game. Thought that people were too lollygagging around. So he gave it a passion speech after they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Aaron Rodgers kind of banged up in this game. He's been banged up all year, but now he's got a hamstring to go along with other little nicks and knacks he's got. Despite all that, the Jets are 7-point favorites, and the over-under is 40.5. I'll go first just to give Alon more time here. I think that the Jets need to win this game for obvious reasons. They can't lose to the lowly Patriots and expect to be a playoff team. If they go 2-6, they're not making the playoffs. If they win this game and go to 3-5, maybe. But I will say this also: the Patriots. A lot has been made about Gerard Mayo calling him out and calling him soft. Even Bill Belichick, his former coach, basically told Gerard Mayo on Pat McAfee, I got the best out of these guys. They're not a soft football team. They were able to stop the run last year, and you're not able to do that. So I think the Patriots are going to come to play to prove their coach wrong. So I got the Jets winning this game, but I got the Patriots covering that 7, and it's 40.5. I'll go over. I think Drake May could put the ball in the end zone a few times. Hold on. How we doing?
Jets to cover. Under.
All right, so he's got the Jets winning, and he's laying the points with the 7, and he'll take the under on the 40.5. Alon's dying. All right, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Lions. Jameson Williams suspended for the next 2 games, and he's not going to Peel, so he's out for this one. Don't know who's playing quarterback for the Titans yet. Titans. And the Lions are 11-point favorites. Since the Titans have been in Tennessee, they have not beat the Detroit Lions. So they got that 11-point spread, and the over-under is 44.5. Alon, you good enough to speak?
Giants gonna cover, or not Giants. Lions are gonna cover, and they're gonna go over. They're probably scoring the 30s. Tennessee's maybe scored 10 points.
Alon's a real trooper, everybody. I have got the same thing. I got the Titans. I'm sorry. Sorry, you say Titans to cover or you said Lions? Okay, so I got the same thing. Lions win. I'm laying the points with them, and I'm going over on that 44.5. Then we got the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore coming off that explosive performance in Tampa Bay where they put up 41 points. Lamar Jackson throwing 5 touchdown passes. Alon, are you okay? All right, he's good. He just had a breath. I'm sorry I did this to you. But the Cleveland Browns are going through change this week. Obviously, Deshaun Watson out for the season. They're going with Jameis Winston. They're going with Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback. Kevin Stefanski, I think this is a little overkill. Kevin Stefanski will not be calling plays. I don't think it was his fault. I think it was Deshaun Watson's fault. But whatever, they're going to go with Ken Dorsey, who I did not think was a great play caller with the Buffalo Bills. But, yeah, he will be calling plays for the Cleveland Browns this weekend. The Baltimore Ravens are 8.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 44.5. What do you got, Alon?
I like Cleveland to actually cover. And I like the over in this game, but the Ravens are going to win.
All righty. If there's one thing that has led to me having stupid picks this year, it's been the Cleveland Browns. I just, for whatever reason, I think that they'll win more games than they've already had, that they've already lost. And I think that they have a lot of talent on this team. They have a good defense. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. They got playmakers on defense. They got playmakers on offense. It's just been that Deshaun Watson has been a utter disappointment. And I think now Jameis Winston, he at times can shine. He had success at times with the New Orleans Saints, but ultimately was benched for Andy Dalton. We all forget he was. I don't think we forget, but that season he had with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he threw for 5,000 yards, 36 touchdown passes, but also threw 30 interceptions. So he can throw. He can also turn it over. I think that the Cleveland Browns are going to play better football with Jameis Winston. I really do, and we'll see how Ken Dorsey is as a play caller. Don't love that, but maybe they get a little more creative. And Nick Chubb's back. So Baltimore in a short week. I think the Browns defense comes to play. Against my better judgment, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns to win this game, and I'm going to go under on that 44.5. Then we got the Indianapolis Colts going to the Houston Texans. This is the second time they'll face off this season. Week 1, the Texans squeaked by, winning 29-27. The Texans are 5-point favorites again, and the over-under is 45.5.
Like the Texans to cover at home. I like the under in this game. I think the Texans are good enough to cover the spread. I just don't think the Colts are going to be able to put enough points up to really be competitive in the second half.
Alrighty. I think that Anthony Richardson has his struggles, but he does do well against the Houston Texans. And I think that Shane Steichen is a damn good play caller. He just, he's at the mercy of his young quarterback. So I think that a second look at the Texans defense, I think he's able to scheme it up. I got the Colts winning this game, and I got the over. I think that a lot of points will be scored in this one. Then we got the Atlanta Falcons going to Tampa Bay. Buccaneers going to wear the old creamsicle jerseys. They're always good every once in a while. And they are banged up big time. I don't think Mike Evans is playing in this game, and Chris Godwin's definitely not playing in this game. And the Atlanta Falcons are coming off a tough loss to Seattle. They are 2.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 45.5.
I hate this game. I know the Bucs are so banged up, but I actually like them to win outright, and the game's going to go over.
Alrighty. I got the game going over too, but I got Atlanta putting up enough points, and I think that Baker Mayfield's going to struggle without his top two guys. So give me the Falcons to win this game, lay the points, and I'll go over. Then we got the Green Bay Packers going to Jacksonville, where they are 4-point favorites, and the over-under is 49.5.
I actually like Jacksonville to win this game.
All right.
And I'll take the under.
He's taking the under, so am I, but I like Green Bay to win this game. I'll lay the points with them as well. All right, then we got Philadelphia going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati going to wear all their all whites, the white tiger. You all right there, Alon? Watch your eyes there, my friend.
A little lightheaded. Oh, I was trying to get so much air through my system. I think I hyperventilated a little bit.
You okay there?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Maybe ditch the sweatshirt and drown yourself in water when we're off here.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we got the Bengals as 3-point favorites, and the over/under is 47.5 as they take on the Philadelphia Eagles.
This one's tough. I think the Bengals are finally gonna kind of start to come on here this part of the season, and I like them. I like them to cover. I like them to win, obviously, and I think there's gonna be a lot of points, so I'll take the over.
I'm doing the exact same thing. As good as the Eagles were a week ago, I think the Bengals are they found their groove right now, and they should win this game at home. It'll be a close one, but I like the Bengals to win this game. So, yeah, give me the same thing as Alon. Then we got the Carolina Panthers going to Denver. And I don't know if you've seen the injury report for the Carolina Panthers, but it's brutal.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little taste here, I saw the update later today, if I can find it on my phone. Basically, Bryce Young's back. He will be playing for the Panthers. However, basically everyone for the Panthers is out. If I could find the injury report. Yeah, basically all of their big name players are not playing in this game. And I think some of them are hurt. I think most of them are being shelved because they're going to make some trades the next few weeks here. I think you could see Deontay Johnson traded. I think you could see Adam Thielen traded. I think you could see Jadeveon Clowney traded. I think this is a showcase game for Bryce Young. I think this is the game before they tear it down in Carolina. So that being said, they are heavy dogs. The Denver Broncos on a 10-day bye are 10.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 40.5.
So just to give everybody a little perspective here, when this game opened at the start of this, before the season started, I think it was a 3.5 points to Denver's favor. It's now at what, 9?
10.5.
10.5. It's gotten as high as 11.5. Yeah, I just don't see how the Panthers can cover this. I think the Broncos win. And I think it's under because I just don't see the Panthers doing anything. I think Bryce Young's ultimately going to be traded as well.
Wow. I wouldn't be surprised by any of that. And yeah, I think this is a this is a kind of like David Tepper and Dave Canales and just being like, let's see what we got in this team and we'll throw it out there and we'll kind of send Bryce Young to the Wolves here. So yeah, I don't see how the Panthers cover this. Give me the Broncos to win this game, lay the points. And I don't see how the Panthers put a lot of points up at this game. So yeah, give me the under.
This game is probably the worst case. There's one other game that's almost as bad as for a road team going to someone else's house with such a bad roster. There's one other game we haven't gotten to it yet.
No, you let me know when that happens.
I will.
Is it the New Orleans Saints going to the Chargers?
That one's up there, but it's actually the Giants going to the Steelers.
Okay, so then we got, before we get to that game on Monday night, we got the New Orleans Saints going to the LA Chargers. Derek Carr is still not healthy enough to play in this game, so it's going to be Spencer Rattler. But the Saints are on a 10-day bye from the Thursday night game, and the Chargers are on a short week from their loss against the Arizona Cardinals. They're 7-point favorites, those Chargers, and the over-under is 41.5.
I like the Saints to cover, and yeah, the Chargers are going to win. They have to win this game, so I like the Saints to cover, but the Chargers to win. I think it may be by a field goal, and I will take the under. The Chargers just haven't proven to me that they're a high-powered offense this year.
You and I think the same, sir. I'm doing the exact same thing. I like the Chargers to win this game. I like the Saints to cover it, but give me that under as well. Not a lot of points. Two defensive teams here.
Yep.
Then we got the Chicago Bears against the Washington Commanders, which was supposed to be a battle of the two top picks in this year's draft between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels did practice today, but probably in a very, very limited capacity because reports initially were that he's not on the practice field. Then Dan Quinn came out later on the press conference and said he did practice, but it didn't sound like he did much. So I'm anticipating it's going to be Marcus Mariota against Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams in the Bears 3-point favorites, over under 43.5.
Yeah, if the Bears were a little more experienced and well-rounded, I would take them to cover this. But I think even with Mariota, I think the Commanders win outright. And I
Wow.
think the game goes over.
All right. I think the game goes over as well, but on coming off the bye week, I'll give the edge to the Chicago Bears. I think they win this game. I'll lay the points with them, and yeah, I think some points are scored. Then we got a pretty good matchup here. The Buffalo Bills going to Seattle, where the Bills are 3-point favorites, and the over/under is 46.5.
Man, the Bills are electric now. Give me. Oof. Yeah, give me the Bills to go there to win and to cover, and give me the under. Give me the under in this game.
I'm doing the exact same thing. I think the Bills find a groove now. I think the Seahawks are a good team, but I think the Bills are a better team. So yeah, Bills win, lay the points under. Then we got the Chiefs going to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites. Over under 41.5.
Give me the Raiders to win the game. And
Wow.
give me the over. Let's go.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I'm going to win the week on that pick.
There you go, Alon. And if you're wrong, you have to do double the hot sauce you did today.
That's not with maybe Tabasco.
Yeah, I can't do it. I think if Antonio Pierce and the Kermit thing didn't happen this offseason, I think that maybe the Chiefs come in and they're lollygagging and the Raiders cover this game. But no, I don't think 9.5 is too much. I think the Chiefs win this game. I'll lay the points and I'll go under on that 41.5. I can't see it from Gardner Minshew in the offense right now.
Yeah.
Then we got the Sunday night game, Dallas Cowboys taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Despite all the injuries, the Niners are 4.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 47.5.
Yeah. Now I gotta take the Cowboys outright just because of
All
how
right.
depleted the Niners are, and I hate it because I think the Niners are the best team in that division still, even at their record. But they just need people, and I will take the over.
I think that the Cowboys will come out swinging, but ultimately the Niners have a good game plan defensively, and Kyle Shanahan schemes it up. Look for George Kittle to have a big game. Look for Jordan Mason to have a big game. Even if it's just the likes of Cowing and Pearsall, I still think the Niners get it done, but it's going to be closer than anticipated. I know that the Niner fans are used to the Niners blowing out the Cowboys. This is going to be a little closer than in more recent years. I still like the Niners to win this game and lay the points, and I'll go over on that 47.5. And then lastly, we got the Monday night game. The Giants going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Interesting note. John Mara at I guess like a fundraiser or whatever little group thing he was having this week, basically said he will not be firing Brian Daboll or Joe Shane this offseason. He's going to stick with them no matter what. You know, that's good for the owner to say because in more recent years, he's been quick to fire coaches and GMs. But I do wonder why. I mean, I think Brian Daboll's a good coach. I just don't think he's been given a good situation with the Giants. Maybe they want to give him an opportunity to change the quarterback. Joe Shane,
Yeah.
I don't know how after you watch that Hard Knocks show, you're really confident in him as being the guy, you know, picking the groceries. But nevertheless, the Steelers are 6-point favorites, and the over/under is 36.5.
Yeah, Steelers by 1 million. Same with similar with the Broncos and Panthers. I just think the Steelers are so good now, and if Russell Wilson plays as effectively as he did in his debut, or even a little less than that, or a little bit more, I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFL now, assuming that they get consistent quarterback play.
And you got the over going?
No, I have the under. I don't think the Giants are going to score.
I think it's enough to get the over on the 36.5. So yeah, give me the Steelers.
I thought you said 40. It's 36.5. No, give me the over.
Okay, so we both have the same thing. Steelers win, lay the points, over. And there you go. That is your Week 8 picks in the NFL.
That Raiders pick is gonna bury me. I just can't. I'm such a shill. The Steelers though. Oh my goodness, they are so good. Like if
Yeah, this offense
yeah.
is if this offense is the way it was last week against the Jets, if they continuously could put up 30 points and that defense, yeah, they might be the best team in football.
Yeah, no, and the way they've been able to run the ball, Russell Wilson getting back to his old self finally, and yeah, wow, what a coaching job by Mike Tomlin once again. We seem to say that every year, though.
Hey, as he put it himself, that's why he's well compensated.
Yeah, that's why I make the big books.
Alon, how you feeling after all that hot sauce?
It's out of my system. Well, it's in my system now. It'll be out of my system.
You'll
Yeah.
feel it when it comes out of your system.
I know. I have to go to my office as soon as we get out of here, and just hoping I can make the drive over.
Well, good luck to you, my friend. And I want to thank you for the last few weeks being on this podcast with me. You're always the best. You always make the time. I know you got a lot going on in your life with school and doing play-by-play for UNLV's girls soccer. And everyone should check out Alana's play-by-play. Doing a fantastic job. But thank you for making time to do this, man. I really appreciate it.
Men's soccer too, and
Oh,
in the running for a few baseball gigs next year. So we'll see if I'm able to strike it.
You keep me posted, sir. You keep me posted on that one.
Of course.
So thank you to Alon. We enjoyed having him the last few weeks, but Stephen will be returning next episode, which will be next Wednesday. We will be live. We'll be doing Just Your Opinion, man. Stephen Langford back from Tuscany. So we'll be back on Wednesday and Saturday next week. So again, Alon, thank you. And thanks to everybody in the chat today. We had Ernie 1, Ernie 2. By the way, me and Steven might be doing a little J-Yam meetup at Walnut Creek. Once that's official, we'll let you know. But I think we're going to do something where if you're an Alpiner, come on through to Walnut Creek and we'll do a little meetup and watch some games. So thanks to all of our loyal listeners, Ernie 1, Ernie 2, Otis Bird is the word, AJ Cruz, Tacky was in here, even True Blue Forever, who was admitting that he's fake Derek Papa. I don't know if I believe that. I think Tacky may have paid him. Thanks to everybody. We'll see you guys on Wednesday next week. Alon, thank you as always, sir. We'll get you back soon. Do the honors for us.
Hey, you might think that the Chiefs are gonna beat the Raiders bad like a drum, but that's just your opinion, man.